Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the stream. Welcome. This is an excellent time to like, share, comment, uh, tag persons. Let them know that we are live. We have not been live in a while, you all. So come on in. The water is nice. You've got a special guest expert this evening, Dr. Angela Mosley. So be sure to tell a friend to tell a friend. Hop on in, okay? All right, so I'm going to take this opportunity to go ahead and share the stream myself to my page. Waiting to see these notifications go out. I haven't even gotten a notification about my own live yet. Facebook, what are you doing? Hello, Rain. How are you? Yes, you'll be meeting Dr. Mosley shortly. We're just taking the time to like, share, comment, tag persons in the comments that may be interested in our discussion this evening. And it's a good one that is relevant to so many of us, if not all of us, at some point in our lives, right? We may either have a bout with sickness or disease or have someone close to us that does. Okay, so our topic this evening is natural medicine. Is it the way of the future? All right. So I literally did not get a notification about my own live. So I'm going to go to this. I don't know if this is a thing. Facebook. Hello. Hello. So we are actually on several of our platforms this evening. We are on Facebook. We're going to be on Instagram. Let me go ahead and get Instagram kicking while we're getting everybody in here. So let's go ahead here. Let me get Instagram rolling. Y'all know how we do: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter tonight, if I am not mistaken. All right. Getting Instagram rolling, up and running. All right, so I had to go in manually onto the Facebook page, the Adley Physiotherapy Facebook page, to grab my own stream so I could share it. All right, so I'm getting it shared, you all. I encourage you all to do the same. All right, got it shared. All right, I see your request. Let me get you in here. So I'm going to get you in on there we go. Get you in on the Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and just introduce the show here. And then I'm going to bring you on StreamYard also. All right, so welcome everyone. Good evening to all of you. For those of you that may not be familiar with me, I am Dr. Felicia, physiotherapist, certified lymphedema therapist, and cancer wellness coach. So I help cancer survivors navigate the changes that occur following cancer diagnosis. So for all of the many myriad of challenges that they may face. I'm here to help and hold their hand and help them to get through it. All right. I have been the owner and proprietor of Adderley Physiotherapy over on Mackey Street in the Mackey Street Plaza, formerly the Meldon Mall. I have been there for 7 years. I've been there for 6 years. I actually had another location prior to, but I've been in private practice for 7 years. All right, so that's just a tiny bit about me, but we have a special guest this evening. Our guest expert this evening is Dr. Angela Mosley. I'm going to go ahead and bring Dr. Mosley up on the screen. I feel like we should have a live television audience at this point to clap Dr. Mosley on, okay? That's how I'm feeling right now. All right. So I've got you in here. I've accepted your request to be on the Instagram live. So I should see you showing up there shortly. We'll give that just a moment to catch up. Okay. Let's see. I'm accepting it again. See if it will take that second time. And then once we get you up over here, I'm going to go ahead and tell our viewing audience just a bit about you. Hi, Valmore52. Dr. Mosley, that request doesn't seem to want to catch up.
I don't know what the deal is.
Are you seeing it on your end at all as yet? Saying that I accept it?
No, I just see requested.
Ooh, that's a first. It says that you are unable to join.
Do we have to do something first?
Wait a minute. Let me
Wait,
get you.
it says you accepted my request. Okay, here we go. Hey.
Okay, there you are. All right, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now that we have you on both of our platforms, well, both of our devices, we're on at least 4 platforms this evening. And also for anyone that has not already done so, feel free to follow Adley Physiotherapy and at I am Dr. Felicia on any or all of your favorite platforms. We do keep different content coming and rolling actually on all the different platforms, so you won't necessarily see the same thing. So follow us on all of them or the one that you hang out on the most. All right. So, Dr. Mosley, thank you so much for coming to share your wisdom, knowledge, and time with us this evening. And here's a bit about Dr. Mosley before we dive in. Dr. Angela Mosley is a licensed medical doctor and functional medicine specialist and host of the Doc Mo Show podcast. She's helped thousands of clients overcome health challenges and achieve wellness naturally in her own private practice for more than a decade. Dr. Mosley believes that many healthcare systems are broken and failing to address the root causes of medical issues for millions of people who truly want to heal and not just patch symptoms with prescriptions. So in 2019, she founded MoMA Wellness to make her unique strategies and healing protocols available to even more people. Her brand new online program will show men and women step by step how to start help healing their bodies naturally. And we're going to dive into that. We're going to have a chance to give you the link and the way to how to get to that as we get a little bit further into our stream this evening. All right. So that's just a little bit about Dr. Mosley. But welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you this evening?
I am great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're so excited to have you. All right. So, can you tell us a little bit about you? So, outside of your work, who is Angela?
I saw that question. I was like, I don't know. I work. I'm a doctor. Like, that's what I do. But outside of that, I do love just living life and enjoying
Mhm.
things. I think I'm a helper at heart. So I love helping people, volunteering, giving. Um, volunteering with kids, especially. I love cooking and, just exploring different things. I think I'm an explorer and adventurer at heart. So I like to travel and discover new places and try new things. And so I'm the person who, why are you going to that place? Because it's cool. And my husband would be like, don't go down that dark alley. I'm like, but I'm sure it's something cool down there. So I want to go, that's
You
that's
want to
me
find
doing
out.
crazy stuff. I tried to right before the pandemic in 2019, went to Hawaii the first time. Actually, I hated it in Kona because I was like, I felt so claustrophobic. I'm like, get me off of this island. But once we got to Honolulu, I was like, it was a different story. I'm like, hey, can you teach me how to surf or whatever? I'm like, well, first, you
Oh,
have to know how to swim to do it. And they're looking at me like, ma'am, what do you think?
that would be me.
So instead of learning how to surf, I learned how to swim. And so
Mm.
next time I will learn how to surf.
Yes, you do sound like quite the adventurer. So I don't know how you would take it if you came here to the Bahamas. I don't know if you have been here before. I
I
don't know if you
have,
would.
and I love it.
So you did not have that feeling of being claustrophobic.
No, it because it's closer to the mainland. Hawaii is the most remote island chain in the world, and I didn't realize it until the plane kind of
Mm,
took off to go there, and I was like, I don't think I want to go. And I don't know. I haven't done that anywhere. It's so odd. But
so
I
that one just may
survived.
not. You survived and you're back here now with us, right? Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so that's a little bit about Angela, but you raised an excellent point. You're a doctor. You may or may not share the idea that, it's who you are versus what you do, so that's a little bit of the difference. Because Angela may be different from Dr. Mosley. It may be a different persona, or you may feel that it's one and the same. All right, so you've made somewhat of a shift. From what I understand of your journey, you started off more traditional medicine, and somewhere along the lines, you made a shift from the traditional medicine and protocols to taking a different approach. So, what caused that?
So when I first finished my training, I trained in family practice. And I did that because I like variety. I don't like things to be the same all the time. I was considering going into emergency medicine, but doing my rotations, I was just like, it's kind of hit or miss. Either it's all the action or it's, really slow and boring. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the lifestyle
Mm.
for me. And so when I finished, I took a job and I was seeing people in the hospital. So I was what's called a hospitalist, but not necessarily a traditional one because I was still running an outpatient practice as well. But I was seeing people in the hospital, and on a regular basis, we would see people who were in their 20s with cancer, in their 30s with heart attacks, like 35, 37, in their 40s, 44, 45, 48 with strokes. And I was like, this is not textbook. Typically people are getting those issues in their 70s or 80s, further along in life, not so young. And it wasn't just a one off thing. We were seeing this in patient after patient after patient, and it was like every week. So it wasn't necessarily a really rare thing that would happen. And I was working at multiple hospitals. And so it was kind of across the board. Now, granted, in the Houston area, but then when I reached out to other colleagues in other cities and other states, they're seeing the similar trends. And I was like, something's not right with this. Let me take a step back and start to look at or investigate what is the cause of why so many people are so young and so sick. So my
Mm.
theory was that it's probably the environment, probably the food, something like that. And I had a captive audience. So I asked the patients, hey, why are you here? Why did you have a heart attack and you're only 37 years old? They can't go anywhere. So I could just sit there and ask them questions. And, the answers they gave me was surprising to me. And so a lot of them were like, I was thinking, oh, I eat too much fried chicken and pizza. And that's the reason, eating the wrong thing, something like that, because you think that's what's going to lead to the clogging of the arteries, which is going to lead to the heart attack. It's the food, it's too much fat, it's too much fried foods, fast foods, all those things. But they were like, that wasn't necessarily the case. And so what people were saying was that they knew they had a different path to take in life, but they were ignoring it. And so they were kind of working these jobs that were overworking them. They were overstressed, pushing themselves to the max, needed to take a break, wouldn't take a break. And I would hear that story repeatedly. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting pattern. I wasn't expecting to hear that necessarily. And so I was like, okay, now what does that have to do with the correlation to disease? And so we know now a lot that it's tied to inflammation. And when you're stressed out, your body tends to have much more inflammation. And so I was just like, we've got to do something different. I was wondering why people weren't listening to their bodies, because they knew ahead of time that they needed to make a shift. They knew they needed to make a change. They knew that potentially they need to step away from a particular job. But it was, I guess, that inner fear, well, if I leave my job, which new one will I get? But, they were keeping themselves in such a state of high stress that they ended up with a serious medical condition and being in my care in the hospital. And so, just seeing that. And then on the outpatient side, so seeing people in the clinic, the thing that tipped me off was thyroid patients. And I'm the type of person, I will follow things. I dot all my I's, I cross all my T's. Like, I don't leave anything unturned. And so I am following the protocols the way they teach them. And so with thyroid, I would check the TSH, we would get in the range, start the medicine that they say to start. And a few months later, we recheck labs and the labs be normal. So I'm like, oh, yay, Miss Jones is coming in today. And I bet she's going to feel great because her labs are normal. So I'm like all young and excited, like, oh, they're coming in and this is going to be awesome. And so I go in the room and I'm like, hey, Miss Jones, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? And, patient after patient, the same. And I was like, what? We got your labs normal. What do you mean you feel the same? Like, you don't feel any better? They're like, no, I don't feel any better. Like, I'm still tired. I'm still overweight. I'm still constipated. I'm still cold. My hair is still falling out. And I'm like, okay, we followed this exactly. Why are they still having issues? Why are they still having the symptoms? And so that didn't make sense to me. And one of the things that we learn and get taught is that if the medicine doesn't work, then the patient is likely depressed. So put them on antidepressants. And I was like, that just doesn't make sense, because I'm talking to the patients and they're like, I'm not depressed. I know they want their issue resolved and they may have some frustration because of that. And, everybody has stress. Everybody's like busy and overworked and all those things. That's common. But they're like, I'm not depressed. And so I'm like, okay, if you're not depressed and you're saying that your labs are normal, but you're not feeling better, maybe I need to go back and do a little bit of digging, look a bit more into the research to see what are we missing? What am I missing? Because my objective is to help patients get better, not just to give you pills, not just to, get a number on the report within a certain range, but to actually get you a result. And so I started looking at the research And then what I started to realize as I was reading more and more articles was that we're not approaching thyroid the way the research says to approach thyroid. The
Mhm.
majority, the abundance of studies show a certain way to manage it versus the protocols show another way to manage it. But those studies were based on studies that were put out by the top pharmaceutical company that happens to also produce the top thyroid drug. So I'm like, oh, there's no bias
No
here.
bias at
Oh,
all.
no conflict of
No,
interest here.
no,
They put out
no,
the study, and that's where the protocol
no,
came from that we're treating
no.
patients by. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I was like, and I would ask, can we do things differently? But
Mm.
other doctors, other colleagues were a bit resistant. Oh, no, this is just how we do it. We can't do anything else. No, you can't manage it with natural thyroid. We don't know how that works. And you can't manage the levels and manage the dose. But when you read the studies and pull some articles, actually you can. But they don't know it. And
Mm.
so I would just go to the research and pull articles, and it's so much information there. And I think that's a good thing, but it's also the bad thing because so much information there. It's like, how do you narrow down what to focus on? And so I was like, I'm not going to be getting anywhere in the conventional system. So I'm going to have to do something drastic and dramatic, hence the adventurous side. So I just walked away. I was making high six figures, like
Mhm.
not just at one level, not just at two level. Like I was kind of up there and, just straight out of training. And I was
Mm.
like, and my husband was like, "You want to do what? Like, nah, you can't. You
Like,
can't
life is good. Don't rock the boat.
house. I got my car. We were living the life." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm stressed out. I am working about 100 hours a week, which I was seeing patients and doing clinic, and I had the pager at night. And so I'm like, I'm stressing myself and running myself ragged the same way as the patients. So I was going into the hospital one morning, and it was about 7 in the morning. Started my first hospital to do rounds, and I started having chest pain. I was like, I'm only 30. So why am I having chest pain? This is a problem. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to be a
In the
patient
same
in the
position.
bed with a heart attack at 30
Mm.
because I know it can happen because I see it all the time. And so I am following that same pattern. So that was just extra motivation to take that step and make a change. And so I left for about maybe a good year and a half and did some kind of fill in work with other clinics to see how people run a clinic because I had no idea, like, how do you run a medical practice? Like, how do you even start one? What do you do? What do you need? Like, I had no.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe if I work in some other practices, just filling in when doctors are on vacation and things like that, I could pick up some things. And then I went to conferences to get retrained on what are natural protocols. Are there other doctors who do have protocols to approach
Mhm.
health in a different way? And so that's what I did for about a year and a half. And then I started my own practice. And that was in 2012. Um, and at first, and if anybody has ever started a business, you already know it doesn't work out that great at first, typically, because we just don't know yet. And so for months, I was sitting there, no patience, no patience. Another day, no patience. Like, how do I get people to come see me? I know this is gonna be great. So I'm like, oh my goodness, now I gotta figure this new thing out. And
Yes.
once I did finally start getting clients to come, it was like, okay, now let's try these natural protocols. I started trying the natural protocols, and they were a bit lacking. People would get some results, but they wouldn't get full
Mhm.
turnarounds. And so another thing that I did not say about myself is I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And so it's like, oh, well, you feel kind of better. Well, no, that's not good enough. You got to get this like turned around and fast. Like, I don't want to wait like months and months. And then I'm like, this is taking a long time, because they'll give you nutrition protocols and thyroid protocols and hormone protocols. And so we're trying to do things one at a time. And that's how I started out, because that's how they teach the protocols. And then I was like, I don't have the patience for this. My patients are frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm like,
Mm.
how about we put the pedal to the metal and combine these things? I'm like, all of these systems work together. What if we do it all at the same time? And at first I was thinking, because you hear this little phrase in natural wellness circles, and it's totally bogus. So if you see a holistic or functional medicine doctor or whatever, and they're like, oh, it took you a long time to get this way. And so it's going to take you a long time to get better. And I'm like, no, that's bull. Like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it's going to take a long time to get better. Like, I need results immediately.
Results in a hurry.
Right. What is the fastest way to do this? And so, and people, all they do is piecemeal, and people will,
Mm.
and when I say people, I mean kind of the natural wellness practitioners in general will kind of focus on one area, either thyroid or hormones or diet or gut, whatever. And it's like that's their thing. Oh, the solution to everything is fix your gut. Well, no, the gut is not the solution to everything, because a lot of people have gone to you and fixed their gut and they still have a lot of symptoms. They're still tired. They're still, having whatever's going on, allergies and hair fall, all those different things that are going on that they want corrected and fixed. Still having weight challenges. I've done everything. I eat real, I work out, and I'm still overweight. And so it's not one thing. Oh, it's your hormones. It's a hormone imbalance. You don't know that until you check everything. Then you can find out what the real cause is. And so, everybody's like, oh, we're going to get to the root cause. Well, there's not a root cause. There are multiple root causes. And if you find all of them and correct all of them, then you will get better. Your body will heal once those imbalances are back in balance. And you can do that naturally in a lot of different ways. But it's things that I had to learn over time. And I feel, kind of sad for my first few patients, because they were my guinea pigs. And willingly, I was like, look, these are the protocols I learned. This is what we're going to do. I don't know how it's going to work. And, we had to try different brands and products. And there's so many decisions to make out there, so many different supplements to choose from. So it's like, okay, you're low on B12, but which B12 supplement do we choose? So it was kind of a matter of going through to see which ones work the best, which ones, okay, I'll put you on this one. And then when we check your levels in 3 months, are those levels going to normalize? Because some brands they will, and some brands they won't. And so that's how I know which ones work and which ones don't. It's not about what's on the label. Some of them are in a form where your body can absorb it.
Mm.
And so, we had to go through that whole process. And it took years to figure those things out. But finally, I got to the place where I did have those protocols down. And it was in a way where it didn't matter who walked through the door. If you follow these steps, we can get you results. And
Mm.
that's for most things. And I say for metabolic things, cellular imbalances and things like that. If it's a physical, like your physical anatomical body, I'm not really messing with that. So it's like, oh, doc, I had this tumor. Can you shrink it? No, I cannot. I know people claim they can, and okay, go there. Like, I don't know what they're doing to cause those results to happen. I mean, I have an idea and I read some things, but that's not really what my protocols are designed to do. But if you're fatigued, if you have brain fog, if you can't lose weight, no matter what you're doing, what you're trying, Yeah, I can turn that around quick. 2 weeks, and 2 weeks you feel better. And that's not a total solution. So it takes months for your body to heal, usually 3 to 6 months, to get that cellular turnaround to the point where you're not going to need supplements. And that's another thing that makes me upset about people. Can you tell I'm a passionate person? I'm sorry. But
Please, please. We love it. We love it. Go right ahead.
so here's the thing, natural wellness practitioners. Oh my gosh. So I get a lot of patients, a lot of clients who come to me after they've been to other doctors. Oh, conventional, like people have seen 5, 10, 15, 20 doctors with no answers. Oh, we ran all these tests and everything was normal. Okay, we hear that all the time. And then on the natural wellness side, oh, I went to a functional medicine doctor and I did that protocol and they didn't get better. Yeah, I know. Oh, I went and spent $10,000 at this clinic and they did all this hormone stuff and I'm still not better. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, you're wasting people's time, you're wasting their money. And the thing is, you're wasting their livelihood
Mm.
and their useful amount of time that they have, because the longer they are not feeling well, and those symptoms are all red flags for other things, so feeling fatigued all the time is not a normal thing. It's your body telling you that something is out of balance that needs to be corrected. And the problem is we don't speak body. It's like, what does it mean? Like, I'm tired, so what am I supposed to do? Like,
Right.
drink some coffee, take some
So
vitamins? Like,
true.
what does that mean?
So
And
true.
so so but then they would go to these other practitioners and then they would like just practice based on their scientific religion, if I can call it that. So some people's religion is thyroid, some people is hormone, some people is gut, and they would focus on that
One
thing
thing.
or two things or maybe three. But there are at least 7, and I would say 10 different areas that you need to look at up front.
Mm.
Correct all 10, you get the turnaround. And it doesn't take that much more effort. It's not that much more expensive. Actually, it's less expensive, but people are, yeah, I'm not even gonna get into all that, but
That's part
but
two.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's a whole nother episode right there. um, but yeah, if you take it and look at it in a comprehensive way, not just take the protocols at face value, you got to kind of go through the work and make it apply, and apply
Mm.
it for the person, for the individual. And that's what I see. A lot of people are like, you have to do it this way. Here's another thing. So you'll see people online talking about, oh, I lost weight by doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, if they got it or got results that way, it's 100% guaranteed you're not going to get results that way, because you're a different person. You are biochemically different. You're genetically different. You're different. So something different is going to work for you, and that's what I'm finding, is that each person has a unique plan that will work for them. But we just like to kind of latch on to other people, like, oh, if it worked for them, that should work for me,
Sameness.
but it's like, you
Hmm.
kind of really have to own your uniqueness to get
Mm.
those results in the natural wellness space. And so I think some individuals are a bit reluctant to do it, especially when they don't have the help and the guidance. If you have that hand holding and walking you through the process, it makes it a lot easier to figure out what the right thing to do is. But yeah, trying to figure it out on your own, I mean, you're just playing guessing games, wasting time.
I could
Oh, let
take
me try this.
forever. it could
Exactly.
take it could take
Oh, I
forever. It's
saw this
trial and error.
ad and for this product, and I think it's going to help me. I'm like,
Yes.
it's
And
so many
some people
people
are
trying to,
hopping
they're
hopping
trying,
from
and
one method to the next. Hmm.
right. And these marketers are good. They are good. They are selling these products. They're selling the heck out of these products. Like this one is gonna work. It's gonna make you lose weight. This one is gonna balance your. It's not gonna do any of that unless
Oh,
you know what specifically offer you. And the only way you know that is by testing. You have to test, and nobody wants to do it. It's just, let me just try. You're guessing then.
yes,
So, and it's gonna, and it's so many different variables. Like it's going to be impossible to figure all that out just by guessing. So just do the test, see what you need, and get your results. Be done with it.
quite true, quite true. Now, Dr. Mosley, did you tell us where your practice was located?
Okay. So I am in the Houston, Texas area. And right
Mm-hmm.
now I see people online. So we do telemedicine visits. Since the pandemic, I'm like, well, we're shut down anyway, and we're getting results just the same. So why am I
Why
running all
not?
around town?
The pandemic was definitely it was an opportunity, to see a way to do things differently, and for
Yep.
who, as we talk about, will embrace it. It's to their, it's not to their detriment, it's to their benefit. So
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So I hope to see our country make more moves in that direction as well. We don't have quite as much birth here with all of the different healthcare professions in telemedicine, but I would love to see that change in the near future. But definitely, I'm glad to hear that you're still getting the results, which is what matters, whether it's
Hmm.
in person or whether it's through telemedicine. Once you get the results, that's really all that your patients care about, that they feel
Right.
better. That's all that
Yeah.
matters to them. Wonderful. So the medium does not matter. All right. So, what suggestions then do you have for people that don't want to become your patients?
Yeah. Do you?
Oh,
It's
as in, what are things that they could do? As in, you mentioned, well, okay, what are the things that may be causing the issue? You said not even so much food or environment like you may initially think, but let's say you mentioned stress was one of the major factors that were affecting persons and causing them to have these serious illnesses so young. So if they wanted to avoid these things and these illnesses at such a young age, what is some advice that you could give them, even just one piece of advice?
Oh, I get the perspective you're coming from. How do you prevent getting to
Yes,
that
it's a
place?
preventative
Okay,
question. Not that they
got it,
don't want
got it.
you. It's a preventative question.
No,
I
no,
asked
no.
it in
But
a
I
facetious
like
way.
the original perspective too, because like, oh yeah, I got these issues, but I don't want to do it because we run into people like that too, and that's fine. To me, it's not like you have to do something. It's like I'm not there to be a dictator or anything like that. Life is for enjoying. And so I think people need to enjoy themselves and enjoy their life at the same time. So, and it's not for everybody because it's intensive. Like I said, I'm checking multiple different things. And so that's a lot, and everybody's not ready. So there are things that people can do ahead of time to help their body heal itself. And, a lot of it people know. I feel like I can ask most people on the street, what do you have to do to be healthy? They're going to
Like
say,
exercise.
exactly. Exactly. That's what everybody's going to say. Everybody knows it. And you have to drink what? Water. And
Water,
you have to get enough.
sleep.
Exactly.
But do we do
We
these
know what to
things?
do. We know
That
what to
is
do.
the entire premise behind health coaching. It's nothing that is novel. It's
Yep.
nothing that people don't know, but they're not doing it. And the way
Yep.
that you mentioned, because there's in the coaching program that I went through, they have these different phases. So what you're discussing, where people are like not really ready, that's
Mm-hmm.
pre-contemplation.
Yep.
They're just thinking about it. They know what they need to do, but they're not ready. And these are conversations that we have with persons. So uh, let's say a patient comes in, they're coming in for lymphedema treatment. they tend to come in unawares of what this process is actually going to be. I
Mhm.
told someone last week, she was new. I said, listen, I said, this is intense. I said, this is rugged. This road is rugged. Okay.
Oh yeah.
This road is rugged. And, not everybody is ready for it, and people come at different, they come and they're at different places. Some people
Yeah.
are not mentally prepared, like you said, to go through the process.
Mhm.
And you raise an excellent point with that. An excellent point. So a person, you can't do it for them.
Right.
You can't want it more than they do,
Yep.
right?
And some
So
people have things going on. People are dealing with loss.
timing.
People are dealing with
Mhm,
challenges. People are dealing with, parents who
mhm.
are sick, just all different kinds of
Yes.
things, trying to raise kids, a lot of switching job, all kinds of things come up. So it's hard to focus on an intensive protocol while you're
Mhm.
doing that. Now, the protocol doesn't last forever, which is the nice thing. So if you do have a chunk of time that you can focus and
Focus on
commit to
yourself.
your health, we
Mhm.
can get this done.
So
But when
true.
it's
So true.
when everything is happening at once and it's one thing after another after another after another, that's not necessarily the right time to
Not
do
a
this
good
sort of
time.
protocol. You're
Not a
you're
good
just
time.
in survival mode at that point.
Ooh, so true. So true. And we go through different phases. We go through
Yep.
some different phases and stages of life. Everyone is it's not the same at every stage. So
Right.
that's a very real statement to make and a very real perspective. Okay. Excellent. So let's see here. Uh I know that you have a freebie, or you have a program, I should say, to tell the people a bit about today. So
Yes.
let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to put this link up. But why don't you? You mentioned it. We mentioned it briefly earlier. The ultimate root cause reset. Really, it's the ultimate root causes reset, isn't it? Because you said there's more than one root cause.
Right.
Generally, right?
Right, right. But
So
everybody thinks
talk
of
a
it
little bit
as
about it.
root cause.
So go ahead
Right.
and tell them a little bit about the program that you have.
Yes. So in April, I did a live Facebook challenge. And it was pretty successful and people enjoyed it. They were engaged and they liked it. And I was like, I think people need the education. They need to know, what's behind this. What can they do? How can they help themselves? Because I mean, there's a lot of information out there, a lot. And the thing is, most of it is confusing. A lot of it is wrong. Like a lot of it is wrong. And it's like you got to be able to decipher where the source is coming from and what their agenda is behind it. And it's a lot of repeating information that's going on, especially online. And I'm like, people are just, I mean, they're not even people, they're parrots, just do this, just copying the one before.
Copy paste.
And it's crazy. Um, but for people to have a way to customize what to do for themselves, yes, you need an eating plan. Yes, we have to eat better. But what does that mean? Because when you come in and you're 50 pounds overweight to the doctor, they're just going to say, oh, you need to lose weight. Well, how?
Mm,
How do I do that?
mm-hmm.
Exactly. Am I
This
just
is
going
where the
to
coaching comes in. Yeah.
eat right and exercise? What does eat right mean? What does that mean? What
Oh,
do I
can
eat?
you give me some detail?
Right.
Can you give me how do I do it?
Exactly. But they don't have time. Again, I was in primary care. You do not have time. You got to get to the next patient and they're waiting and you're already behind. And it's like, I
Mm,
can't sit here and write out. I'm going to send you
reality.
to the nutritionist, to the dietitian. And then they're just going to like hand you a paper and it's going to have some foods on there or whatever. But how do you apply that? Are they even looking at your food sensitivities or food allergies? So there are a lot of things to consider. Are they considering your
Mm,
eating schedule? And then a big thing that people don't even think about is your body even able to digest and absorb what you're eating? Because if it's not, you can eat the most perfect diet on the planet. and
And
still
the
not get the
benefit is
results.
lost. The
And
benefit
so
is
that's
lost
happening
on
to a
you.
lot of people too. And I've
Mm,
seen that with a lot of clients. I eat so clean. Eat the best quality everything. And I'm following the protocols to a T, and they don't get results because internally your body is not processing those things properly. So, we work with that. But this root cause reset is to help people when you want to know what you need to eat specifically for
mm,
you, what to do, how to get through that process. And there are other things, it's a lot of things stacked against all of us
yes.
in the process of trying to get well and get healthy. We live in the most toxic time ever. And when I say toxic, I don't mean emotionally and mentally toxic, which that is a part of it too, but the physical chemicals and toxins that are in our environment is having a major toll on all of our health. It's causing the brain fog, it's causing weight gain, it's causing hormone imbalances, all
Mm.
sorts of issues that those things can cause. And everybody's like trying to bury their head in the sand. Oh no, that's not a real issue. No, 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 no. It's like,
It's the
yes, it
issue.
is. Um, and especially if you're predisposed to being more sensitive to those things genetically. And we have genetic tests now. I mean, so it's like you can see who's going to be more sensitive to toxicity and things like that. But it's an important thing for everybody, because if you have toxins or chemicals, aka poisons, in your body that are just kind of there and lingering and you're constantly being exposed, then it depletes the activity of your nutrients and will even bind and replace your nutrients. And you need your nutrients and your vitamins for all your processes to happen in your body. You need those to build energy in your body and for your cellular processes to happen and for
Mhm.
everything to happen, for your hormones to work, for your thyroid to work, for all of those processes to work. And they can do damage to your cells at the same time. So it's like that's another thing that you got to be aware of. And a 7-day detox is not going to get the job done. Sorry. We can't just
No,
drink a shake for
no.
14 days and that's going to be
Be fine?
it.
No, that's not
Right.
enough. Okay.
Exactly. And the thing is, I think one of the things that people don't understand about toxicity and toxins is that there are different toxins, and the body has different ways, different pathways, different processes that it uses to get rid of different toxins. So some of them you can get rid of through the liver. Some of them
Mhm.
you get rid of through the gut. Some of them you get it through the skin. Some of them the kidneys get rid of
Different
those.
systems. Mhm.
So, and like on the molecular cellular level, there are different processes as well.
Mm.
And so when we're thinking about toxicity, we've got to know what we're dealing with. What are we up against? Because depending on what it is will determine what you need to do. And if you just, take this 14-day cleanse.
Once again, it's
Now,
a
did they
general
ask you
approach.
any questions?
It's
Huh?
just a general approach. Once again, it's just a general
Exactly.
approach. One size fits all,
I mean, it
cookie
probably has
cutter.
some fiber and some vitamins. It's going to make you like go to the bathroom. Like, okay.
Mm-mm-mm.
So, but when we add it all up, did we really get the results that we were looking for from it? And I think that's
True.
one of the major questions that people have to start asking themselves. I'm trying all these things, but is it working? And I'm all
But
about
is it
what
working?
works.
I can tell results oriented, evidence-based practice. Yes, some of my favorite terms and phrases. All right. So I think this is a wonderful spot right here for Q&A. If there are any questions at this time that were not dropped in the midst of our and in the course of our chat this evening, feel free to put them in the comment section at this time. And while we're waiting to see if there are any further questions, let's see. Let me scan over here. Okay, that's a comment that I will read out. Let's see. So if there are any questions at this time for Dr. Mosley, please do feel free to drop them in the chat. And while we are at it, let's see. I'm going to just read out this one comment. Someone is saying here that they noticed that they started to lose weight when they changed their diet to fish and chicken, exercise, and just drinking water. Like we said, those are some of the good things. Less red meat. You
Mm.
know, we know that, my goodness, when sometimes when you look online, like you said, such a I almost don't want to use the word wealth of information. As as it's not all, as you said, it's not all like good information, or like it's not all accurate. And that is something that I constantly would caution people, like, look at what the source is, like, because anybody could put something on the internet. You have to trace that
Hmm.
back and see who is the source, where did they get their information from, is this just their opinion, what are their qualifications, that kind of thing, just to be savvy researchers themselves, and to really look at the level, the level of the information, as we would say. uh
Hmm.
I caution people to do that, because some people do just believe anything that they see on the internet, and we find that a lot now. The patients are coming to you with information, not necessarily the correct information or complete information, but they are coming 9 times out of 10 having researched themselves, right?
Right. And I'm not
So
mad at that because I
no,
think
it's
people
there. I think
do.
people should be
Yeah,
informed.
exactly. Um, and about that, the comment that, yeah, you lost weight with chicken and fish and water. Was that
Hmm.
all?
Yes, chicken, fish,
But
water. I presume that's not the entire diet, but I think the reference is
no,
more to the types of protein, I suppose, that they would be taking in. Less red meat
yes.
is, I think, what they're getting at.
And so that's not bad. I'm not mad at it. We got to find what works for us specifically.
Yes.
And that can take time, and we're not a society of patience. It's like, I'm not trying to figure this out, like, just tell me what to do, like,
I want
and
it now.
if you could put it in a pill, that'll be even better, like. But it doesn't really work that way. And so what I wanted to distinguish was that people can be at different levels of where they are with their health. So somebody who a diet and exercise program will work for is probably not as severe off as somebody who's been in the processes of imbalances for months or years or something like that. If it's been going on for quite a long time, I mean, I see people who have had issues for 5 years, 10, 20 years with no results. And so there are probably some underlying metabolic imbalances or hormone imbalances or things like that. So just changing your diet is probably not going to fix all that. Now, it is a necessary part of it. So it's a partial solution. So some people are like, oh, I changed my diet and I feel kind of better, but not all the
Hmm.
way. And
Right.
so when you're feeling a little bit better, but not totally better, that's a signal that there's still something else going on. And
Correct.
so it's a good idea to go and get help from a practitioner to help guide you through that process to figure out what that other thing that's underlying that is going on, so you can get that fixed too, so that you can feel completely better and not just kind of, yeah, I kind of felt a little bit more energy when I changed my diet to like spinach and carrots, like.
It's true, but people have all kinds of different ideas, all kinds of different
Right. And
ideas.
everything doesn't work for everybody at all
No.
moments. And so, when we're getting information from the internet, it can be tough to navigate all that, because there are some people where exercise at this moment, yes, it's important. Yes, it's necessary. But for some people, exercise is going to make them worse.
Hmm.
And so it's like, you got to
Go
get
back
your
to
body through a certain
Mhm.
process. You got to understand where you are starting from. And that's kind of the point of the program, to figure out where you specifically are starting from, So you can know how to walk yourself through that process and start to get results. Now, some people will be, again, at a different level where they're going to need to get some testing and see what's underlying it. But the things that you can do without that, that's what we're helping people do and walk through, because it still has to be tailored and customized for you.
Mm, very, very important. That individualized treatment plan and getting that baseline when they're at the beginning of treatment. All
Yep.
very, very important. So we do have a question here, and the question is: would you advise a 50-plus lady to add vitamins to her morning routine to boost her energy for her busy work schedule? Dr. Bo.
So with vitamins, I don't take or recommend just randomly taking vitamins. Like I said, I recommend, seeing what you actually need, because certain, a general multivitamin will be of limited benefit. Now, it could be beneficial, and I think for most people, it probably will, because it's going to have some coverage of vitamins and minerals, but you still got to be careful with different vitamins and different supplements. We got to be looking at our brand. So it's like, it's not necessarily as straightforward as it seems,
Mm-hmm.
when we're just gonna take a vitamin or something like that. And so when I say that, it's like some brands and some formulations of the vitamins will be more harmful to the body than beneficial. And it's like, wait, I thought the vitamins were supposed to help. Well, it could if you know what you need. And,
Right.
okay, let's take one specific example. Sorry, scratching my head. I don't know. It just started itching. But, but, B12, let's take B12. Oh, you have low energy, so that means you need to take B12. And that's what, the internet will tell you. But is that actually true? I know I'm being silly. So B12 comes in at
Hmm.
least three different
Different
forms that I
forms.
can think of off the top of my head. So cobalamin is the chemical name for B12. So cobalamin, but it comes in hydroxycobalamin, methylcobalamin, and cyanocobalamin.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that's most readily available, kind of over the counter, is cyanocobalamin. And I used to take it for years and years, not knowing what it was, because that cyano part on the beginning of that B12. So it's kind of a combination molecule. So when it gets into your body, those things kind of separate the cyano and the cobalamin, the B12, or the
Mm-hmm.
methyl and the cobalamin, or the hydroxy and the cobalamin. And it creates two different things. So the B12 is going to do what it does in your body, and then the other part is going to do something else. And so the cyano, the one, if you just go over the counter, so start flipping your labels and seeing what's actually in it, is actually, once it comes apart, it's cyanide. So microdoses of a legit poison. I'm like, don't they use that to kill people? Like,
But the
why is it in
prefix
our
is
vitamins? So,
a
and a lot
dead
of the
giveaway.
multivitamins will, because it's cheap. I mean, if we think this is not about money and
This is
industry
part
and all
three.
that,
This is
we
part
said
three.
we
This is part three because
I know we said
this
we
is
wasn't gonna get into all that, but I mean, y'all need
this
to
is
know a
part
little bit.
three. We're past part two. That is part three. That is part three because if you want to see somebody get passionate, that part three is my episode. So
Yes.
true. I'm like they are trying to kill us. They are trying to
Yep.
kill us.
I think there's a legit conspiracy like out there. It has to be. And I know we're laughing. It's not funny, it's not funny when you're going through stuff and when your
Not
body
funny,
isn't
ha
feeling
ha,
great.
but kind of funny in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, it's kind of
like this the
crazy.
entire situation is crazy, as you
Yeah, it's
say.
kind of out there.
Yeah.
Um, and,
I
and so it's like we've got to know our forms. And so that takes a lot of reading and research and understanding those different things. And so they just have supplements out there. And the thing about nutritional supplements, they're not regulated. So these are not FDA approved products or things like that. So a company can put
Just out
whatever
there.
they want on the label. They can say it's anything. And it might not be that in the bottle. Even your reputable brands, and I mean, I'm not gonna start naming names because it's like I want to keep all my stuff intact. But I'm just saying, like, big brands who, oh, they've been around for years and
You
decades and
trust them.
whatever, and
Mhm.
everybody takes these vitamins. Yeah,
Okay.
everybody should not take those vitamins. They're really good
Mhm.
at marketing. They're not
That's what
really
it's
good at,
really all about. It's not so
yeah.
much even the quality. You'll have to find out the quality through your own research, etc. Oh, Sharon text two
I know.
says
I'm typing
Angela,
back to
the
her. Hey,
best
Sherry.
doctor. Oh,
Oh, I'm
listen, I
mistyping
love how
stuff.
your people came through and supported you. That was nice to see. That was nice to see. All right.
um,
Yes,
I
please
don't
do
know. What
finish
was I
that
talking
thought.
about?
And then
What was I
you're
talking
talking
about?
about the vitamins and the well-known
Yes.
brands that put
So
anything on the
yes,
label, and we all take them and think that they're good.
it's a little bit more complicated than just because like you get in the store and you're like seeing this wall of vitamin
Good
C and it's
looking.
like,
Mm-hmm.
well, which
Mm-hmm.
one? How are we picking which one? Is it, oh, the one with the prettiest label, or, and we
Right,
kind
because
of
it
we
looks
think we're
good.
scientifically looking at the time, but
It's
yeah,
not
it's
it's more psychology than anything else. Is it's
mhm,
more about, okay, what are the colors that people are responding to? What are the fonts that they will respond to? What
right.
type of music do we need to play in this store to get people to want to spend? It's there. We are kind of constantly being manipulated as consumers to talk the
Right.
cash and the cards out of those wallets and purses. you know
Absolutely.
that's what it is now. That's what the world is, and
Yeah.
probably has been for many decades. But I
Yeah.
digress. So
No, I
Dr.
have another
Angela,
story about it. I don't know. Are we done?
go
I
ahead
don't
with
know.
that. Go ahead with that one more story, and then I'm gonna let you
No.
tell the people where they can find you online. One
Okay.
more story.
Okay.
Story time.
Yes, one more story just to caution you about over the counter stuff because it's like it's a supplement. It should be helpful, right? Like it's not going to hurt me. That's not true. Like they only flag supplements after it causes problems with people. So it's like you're gonna have to find
Right.
brands that you trust, and brands that you trust are kind of hard to come by. These supplements come in levels of quality, and it's not about the branding, it's not about the name, it's not about the all of that stuff. It's what is the quality of ingredients in there, and what does your body need, and matching those things up. Um, but so I had one client come to me and she was middle age, I guess maybe in her 50s, later 50s, something like that, and she had just got remarried. And so I'm like, congratulations, this is awesome. The problem is she's a newlywed and she's biting her husband's head off. I'm like, well, you're gonna be divorced pretty quick if you keep treating that man like that. So let's see what's going on and help you. So look at her list of supplements. And she's taking an over-the-counter supplement for hormones. So a DHEA supplement. And when I checked her levels, like her testosterone levels were literally off the charts, higher than any man I've ever seen. I was like literally scared for this woman. I was like, what are you taking? I was like, look, stop that DHEA supplement because DHEA converts in the body into testosterone and other hormones. And so I'm like, whatever's on that label is not what's in the pill because whatever the dosage wasn't listed
Wasn't
on the
enough to
label, wasn't
call.
high enough to like get her levels that high
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, I don't know where you got these supplements from. And then once we
Throw them out.
investigated, there a lot of these are made in China somewhere, and they're shipping them here. They're manufacturing them there. I don't know what's in it. You don't know what's in it unless we're going to independently test everything. And there are companies that do that. Because Consumer Lab is a company that will independently test supplements. And so I think they have a membership where you can kind of register and see what's in these different supplements, or, just work with somebody to get some trusted, high quality, professional grade supplements that are not going to have problematic ingredients. Because I was like, anything can happen to you. You can have a heart attack. I mean, just all sorts of things from a supplement that she thought was safe and that was going to help her. And
Right.
yeah, so that was scary. And scary things do happen. So just protect yourself, protect yourselves
Inform
out there.
yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Arm yourself with information.
Mm-hmm.
Correct information. So this is our last question that we will take this evening, and someone is asking, what would you advise to take then? So do you have, I don't know if you have a particular brand of vitamins or supplements that you do recommend to persons and that you are comfortable sharing with us here
Okay.
live.
No. So if I was going to pick a multivitamin, probably, I don't know. I'm a practical person too. So it's like I don't like taking a whole bunch of pills. So the one I use is called One O.N.E, One multivitamin, and it's pure encapsulations. It's the brand. You can probably find it online. And if you get it off Amazon, do not get it from a random seller. Like, go to their actual supplement store. Like, you have to look for who the seller is. Don't just buy it randomly from anywhere. Like, go to that manufacturer and get it from there, because then you're getting the actual product. But that's the multivitamin that I use. It's pretty good across the board as far as all the ingredients for a multivitamin. Um, Most of the time you're not going to get in trouble with a multi, because it's not going to have high enough levels of everything to start throwing things kind of all off kilter. Sometimes for some people it can, but yeah, that's a one capsule a day, and I'm all about that because I'm not trying to take a whole lot of stuff.
I hear you. You're all about function and utility.
Yep.
I can't blame you or disagree with you. Well, let's see here. Do you have, let's see, let's tell the people where they can find you online.
Okay. Well, I came out with a podcast recently, and Dr. Felicia is on one of the episodes. Hey. So check
Yes.
it out. You can find it at Dotmo Show on YouTube. You can also find it at the Dotmo Show on like every podcast platform. So it's the Docmo, DOCMO show. And we're talking about some cool stuff. So that's out. And so if you just want more information to engage more, then you can do that. I think you have the link for the program. So it's not out yet, but the free training for that root cause reset is going to be out next week. I think the end of next week. So that's coming out. Everybody can kind of go to the site, get prepared for your training, because we're going to go and dive deep into what it really takes to get your body turned around and get a natural result. And these are results that last. This is not where you got to keep taking supplements forever and ever. I don't believe in that at all. Like, our bodies need to work and work well and work right and for a long time. And so that's what we're doing there. And that's where you can find me. Yeah.
All right. So I am just dropping your links in the comments as well. It ran as a ticker at the bottom of the screen, but I will also put it in the comments so that persons can have a live link to click even after our stream ends today. So I
Nice.
put that one in there for you, and I will also go ahead and put in here. I put the link to the program. I will go ahead and put a link to the show also, so the persons can visit you and subscribe to your podcast. And yes, I was on an episode. That is how Dr. Mo and I met, and she was kind enough to return the favor and come on our platform and share with you all this evening. So that was more than wonderful, and we are so glad that you were able to come and join us. Let's going ahead and getting this last link in here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. This is fun. I don't know. I was like, was
It
I talking
usually
too much?
is. You were great. I would describe it as informative. That was the word that came to mind. That was informative. I even learned some things on this show, and I surely hope that the persons that joined us today did as well, and even those that will watch it after. So I want to extend many, many thanks to you again for being our guest expert of the evening. We thank you so, so much. More rave reviews coming through for you here on Instagram. Leah Bardo says Dr. Mo is the best. I love it.
Oh,
I love
hey
it.
Leah.
I love the love. Oh,
I
all
miss
right.
y'all. Like everybody's on
Uh-huh.
Instagram. I'm like, I don't know why I'm not on here more often because I'm
You
working all
need
the
to
time. But
come on over.
obviously.
You need to come on over to our place. Instagram is the jam. I'm not gonna lie. Like first love. But definitely, it's nice. I love the online space. It's where you get to meet a lot of cool people that you probably would not otherwise meet,
Yeah.
and keep in touch with those that you did meet, perhaps through
That's how we
traditional
met on
means.
Facebook.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So I mean, there are just some awesome people that I wouldn't otherwise know, and I wouldn't have different opportunities to collaborate with persons like
Mhm.
yourself. So I'm so, so grateful for it. Portia McCoy says thank you. That's one of my persons that come and watch, and support, and I'm so, so grateful for you, Mrs. McCoy. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Mosley. Check Dr. Mosley out. Follow her. She's on Instagram. She's gonna be coming on Instagram more often now. Dr.
Yes.
Angela N. Mosley. Go
I'm
ahead,
like,
give her a
everybody
follow.
represents on Instagram. Like, I got to get with the program. I have
Yeah,
room for
you gotta
growth
get on
too,
it.
and I shall.
Yes, we all do. That's a good thing about life. You mentioned that something about there being different levels in, and it was in reference to something else, but life is the same way. You have different. There is no ceiling, really. There is no ceiling. You just keep going. The sky
Yeah.
is really and truly the limit, and you can't really touch the sky, can you? So
I know, like, cause once you get to it,
you
anyway.
can't really touch it, so you just keep going, right? So that's what I love about it. Maybe you will inspire me to start my podcast. We
Not,
shall
yeah,
see.
do it.
We shall see. You may have inspired me. But thank you to you. Thank you to all of our viewing and listening audience today. We do thank you for hanging out with us. And we look forward to seeing you on another live, or perhaps you listen to a podcast in the future. Okay. So until the next time, you all. All right. This is Dr. Felicia signing off, making the world healthier, one woman at a time. Bye.